Hi guys, so there is some Hopium, some optimism on the charts that I'm gonna show you. So that's why we are doing this video today on a Saturday. And the Hopium and the optimism come from the CME charts. This is the CME chart of Bitcoin, and it is closed right now. It did close at 16,300 on the weekly close. These are weekly time frames, so you can see up here that it closed exactly at 16,300. Now this is actually very good. So yeah, you know, we try to find some kind of Hopium, some kind of optimism anywhere we can get optimism and Hopium. Can this go down to 10k, 12k? I mean, there is definitely, you know, probability for that, and there are also all sorts of reasons why we could go down. But we also look for any kind of Hopium optimism where we can find Hopium and optimism, right? So over here on the weekly time frame, this doesn't look that especially interesting right now, but there are definitely reasons for why this can actually be very good for Bitcoin next week. So let's go a little bit down in the small time frames. The first thing you're gonna notice here on the CME chart, because CME chart is a little bit different than, you know, regular charts. Number one, it's open from Monday to Friday, so trading is only happening Monday, Friday, not on weekends. The other thing is it's the derivative exchange, so you know, a lot of big players are actually shorting and longing in Bitcoin on the exchange, so they might have some kind of, you know, information that we don't have. So we like to look at a CME chart. You know, sometimes, you know, there might come some kind of clues about what's going to happen. Now the first bullish thing over here that's actually already happening is that we are above the 10 moving average. The 10 moving average right now at you know, 16,245, but we closed above that with this you know, daily candle up here on the Friday, and right now we are technically above 10 moving average on the daily time frame. Now this is just a small indication of bullishness. We can just drop right back down again. I'm not saying that, but we did have three you know, green days in a row over here on CME chart. So 3 green days right now above the you know, 10 moving average. That's looks good. So there's a little bit Hopium there. Now if you go to even small time frames, what you're gonna see here is, you know, that the price is actually very nicely above, you know, 10, 20 and the 50 moving average up here. Now this did happen before, like over here, and over here right now. 3 last time. You can see up here how nicely it got rejected by the 50 moving average. Up here we tried to break it. Sorry about that. Up here we tried to break it, but you know, we came right back down again. Over here we tried to break it right down. This is the third time we are actually breaking. Now the difference between these two times over here and this time is that the moving averages, you can see the bottom and the top moving average, the distance up here is very tight, very tight. So right now we are breaking towards the upside when we have this tight range of moving averages, you know, right below us. So if you should, you know, fall right down over here, that will indicate, you know, some kind of bearishness, stuff like that. But we are already, you know, we already did close above the 10, 20, 50 moving average, and on the daily time frame we are above the 10 moving average over here. So that kind of gives me a little bit, you know, Hopium and optimism that you know, we might just, you know, do very nicely next week. You can see up here that we, you know, we have still not broken the very important, you know, level up here. If you use this up here, you can see up here there we didn't break it. If you use these 2 weeks up here, we didn't break it. So the trend line definitely not broken just yet. So but maybe, just maybe next week we will break it. We don't know yet, but it's kind of looking good. It's kind of looking good. So there is a little bit Hopium, a little bit optimism that maybe, just maybe next week sorry about that, maybe just maybe next week is gonna be a good day. Now the moving averages on the 4-hourly looks good, the daily looks nice. Maybe, just maybe, we're gonna break this triangle up here. Let me just remove this line up here, and we're gonna see that we are on the daily time frame already above the 10 moving average, but we are not pumping up here. You can see that we are above the 10 moving average. We've been above 10 moving average for 1, 2, 3, 4 days right now, but we are not pumping, and we need to get out of the triangle towards the upside. Now this triangle up here is actually a pennant, and this is actually a bearish pennant. We got a big impulsive move towards downside inside a pennant, and right now we need to break towards the upside. This actually looks more bearish than bullish, but we are keeping the optimism and we are keeping the Hopium that, you know, somehow we'll break this towards the upside. Because if this move goes to, you know, down over here, we are looking at, you know, 10k, 12k, 13k, you know, 11k. I don't know what kind of level we are looking, but we are looking definitely it could be a big level towards the downside. We've been talking about this on the live streams, and we said that, you know, the breakout towards downside and you know, this move, you know, continuous move towards upside right now needs to break. It's a very, you know, critical moment for Bitcoin to break towards upside right now, because if it does fail to break towards upside and, you know, over here and goes towards downside, what might happen is that we're gonna break the support over here and fall even further towards downside. If this happen, I would assume that, you know, entire, you know, pennant up here will go towards downside. Can that happen? Definitely can happen, but the CME futures right now, the fact that we are above moving averages on the 4 hourly right now, you know, climbing above the 10 moving average, we still haven't done that much. And on the weekly time frame, we are a little bit overextended towards downside, not that much, but, you know, just assuming that this is for whatever reason gonna, you know, continue dumping on the downside without getting, you know, hit by the moving averages, it's kind of a little bit, you know, hard to take. Can we just continue dumping on the downside? Definitely can, but you know, anytime you dump towards downside, you kind of go back into the moving averages, then dump into the moving averages, then dump into the moving averages, then dump, right? That's kind of, you know, how these things works. Now big moves don't have to do that, but you can see even over here, like you went down, then you kind of went up to the moving averages, try to get at least close to them, and then dump more towards downside. That can definitely happen, right? Can we dump down here, right over here towards downside? We can, but, you know, we are keeping the optimism up because, you know, the 4 hourly did close above the very important moving averages, and the daily did right now close above the 10 moving averages on the CME chart. So does that mean that we are going to go towards the upside? No. Does that mean that we're going to drop down? No. But it kind of gives us, you know, hopium and optimism. We still need to break out of this triangle, this pennant towards the upside, and there is not a lot of days left, maybe 1-2 days left after a weekend. If you look at the small time frames, I mean, this triangle is really hard to, you know, draw any other way. I've tried, you know, using other kind of lines, you know, trying to figure out maybe this is some kind of, you know, expanding wedge over here. Maybe we're gonna go towards downside over here and then, you know, bounce towards upside. But most likely scenario right now, at least the way I see it, is that this pennant up here is what everybody's looking at. So it is very important to go towards upside. What is keeping me worried a little bit is that we are using a lot of time here at the top. So up here at the top, we are using a lot of time without actually breaking towards the upside, and that's kind of getting me a little bit worried. But we could just also be waiting for the CME futures to open on Monday, and then something is going to happen. Now next week is also very important because today is the 26th of November, but next week on Wednesday it's a new month. So maybe we are also waiting for this monthly close up here. Now on the monthly close, there is also there is not much that's actually telling us that we are, you know, we should be you know, bullish or anything like that. Besides MACD over here even close below the zero line, which should actually be very bad, but we are getting this these light red histograms over here that's showing that momentum is kind of dying. So for the last 2 months, momentum has been dying. Even with this push towards downside, momentum is still dying, and that kind of gives me kind of a little bit hopium that, you know, we just might, you know, do a nice move after a weekend. So I'm still again, let me just go a little bit back in time over here. So I know it's Saturday today, not much is happening this weekend, you know, volatility is down. Volatility should pick up, I think, tomorrow night or something like that, you know, on Sunday. But for everybody who doesn't watch, you know, Bitcoin Daily and doesn't follow the live streams, as you can see over here right now, this is what we are waiting for. We're waiting for any kind of breakout towards upside, and I think it is a little bit critical that we break towards upside, because if you don't do that, I don't know whether that's gonna be the channel up here or, you know, some kind of lower levels, but if we go back below the line, the critical moment comes when we break either towards downside over here, you know, around you know, 16.3 or something like that, or above up here above 16.7 or something like that towards the upside. And there is one more thing that I want to show you, which is actually quite interesting. Now let me remove the moving averages up here for a second and remove everything. We're going to go to the weekly time frame, and what we are having up here, we talked about this before, that we are maybe, just maybe, creating this, you know, morning doji star pattern up here where we bounce towards outside, but this move up here doesn't seem to be happening anytime soon. So unless, you know, today, tomorrow we pump, like, you know, I don't know how much this is right now, but it needs to go above the 50%, like 10 to 13% towards upside, something like that. The morning doji star pattern is not happening on the chart, but this is on the weekly time frame. We got still on the 2 weekly time frame probability to create the same pattern. Now this pattern needs to close That means in 8 days, you know, we got a 1 more week. So next week, if we close anywhere around, you know, 16.3, where the CME futures right now close, if we close around that area next week, we just might get, you know, 2 weekly morning doji star pattern, which is a reversal pattern towards the upside. But it needs to, you know, we need to close, you know, next week around 16.3. That means more sideways movement and then pump towards the upside. Another option over here, that would mean that we would get a big, you know, move towards downside, doji candle, and then move towards the upside. This double doji on the bottom is also very important, because double doji at the bottom also indicates some kind of reversal, some kind of indecision, some kind of, you know, maybe, just maybe, bullish move towards the upside. So that will, you know, to the, you know, 2 weekly time frame with a double doji on the bottom will also be very bullish. Now, everything of this is like Hopium, optimism. We are looking for ways how this can actually play out, but the only thing we have that actually is very certain is that let me just go a little bit back in time over here. The only thing we have that's very certain is that this, you know, pennant is playing out, and the pennant is bearish, and the pennant should go towards the downside. Now, one more thing that I'm gonna show you. Let me just find it for a second. Here we go. This is 1 hourly time frame. It's still Bitcoin. This is still the triangle. But what I'm gonna show you right now is that, you know, bearish patterns breaking towards the bullish side is actually super bullish. So assume you got some kind of bearish pattern, some kind of channel towards the upside, you should expect some kind of bearish pattern to break towards the downside, right? Any kind of bearish pattern, like even a pennant breaking toward the bullish side is very bullish, because it is expected to break down. But patterns can break towards both sides. Now here's I remember really well when we hit the bottom down here at 18K. On the first move towards the downside, Bitcoin started doing this range, and right over here, where is it? Right over here, Bitcoin had a rising wedge on the chart, and everybody was looking at this rising wedge, and it was already kind of getting a little bit bullish because of other things. But you know, there was some kind of rising wedge up here on the chart, you can see here, and you can see that this rising wedge should have broken towards the downside, but it did not do that. It exploded up over here and showed bullishness in the chart. Now this was a, you know, 1 hourly time frame, and it did hit some kind of top over here and pull back, but even the small time frames breaking bullishly does increase bullishness and shows that there is actually bullish sentiment in the charts. And you can see here, ever since over here, you know, this move up here, we have, you know, steadily been going towards the upside. And right now, you know, we are going towards the downside. But when you start getting these bearish patterns that turn bullish, it is actually a very good thing. So just because this over here right now is a bearish pattern up here, let's go to the 4 hourly time frame. Just because it's a bearish pattern breaking bullishly is hugely bullish. So some kind of optimism, some kind of hopium, you know, it's there, and you know, there is definitely probability that we are gonna break, you know, towards the upside or downside. I just want you to know, CME futures tell us that there is some kind of hope. So, you know, it's, you know, Saturday, it's a little bit rainy or snowy. I don't know what kind of weather it is. You know, Christmas is right around the corner. December is coming. We're gonna start with the snow on the stream. So, you know, have a nice day. Look for the, you know, breakout of this, you know, pennant towards downside or upside. I'm not gonna talk about this move towards downside. It failed right now, failing, and why this is actually happening. But it is very crucial right now that, you know, next week we do actually break towards upside, because if this goes down, we still got some kind of hopium that is gonna play out, but it does not look good. So there you go, some kind of optimism, hopium that, you know, maybe, just maybe, very soon something is gonna happen. But either way, something's gotta happen, because this is just you know, using way too long time to, you know, make a move. Guys, have a nice day. I'm gonna see you around. Bye bye.